Today we are talking about something interesting. Should people be allowed to walk without shoes in public places? This is a question that people have different ideas about. We have two guests here to discuss this topic with us. On one side, we have Sarah Adams. Sarah thinks people should be free to go barefoot in public if they want to. On the other side, we have David Miller. David believes that being barefoot in public is not a good idea for several reasons. We will hear from both Sarah and David. They will share their opinions and then discuss the points. This will help us understand the different views on this topic better. Let's begin with Sarah Adams.
Thank you, Alex. I believe strongly that adults should have the freedom to choose whether or not to wear shoes in public places. For many people, going barefoot is a personal choice related to comfort. It can feel more natural and connected to the ground. We wear shoes for many hours every day. Sometimes taking them off feels good and right for our feet. It's about feeling comfortable in your own body and deciding what is best for you. Some people worry about safety. They think you might step on something sharp like glass. But people who walk barefoot usually look where they are going very carefully. Minor cuts can happen, but they usually are not serious. Shoes do not protect you from every possible danger either. You could still trip or twist your ankle while wearing shoes. The idea that public places are too dangerous for bare feet is often exaggerated. Think about places like parks, beaches, or even some sports fields. People are often barefoot there already. We don't see huge problems happening in these places because people are barefoot. This suggests that the risk in other public areas might also be lower than some people think. Requiring shoes everywhere limits personal freedom without a strong reason. If someone is not harming others, why should there be a rule about what they wear on their feet? It feels like an unnecessary restriction on personal liberty. Adults can assess risks for themselves. They should be allowed to decide if they are comfortable taking the small risk of walking barefoot. For example, walking on grass in a public park feels very different without shoes. It can be a pleasant experience. Why should a rule prevent someone from enjoying this simple pleasure? In many countries and cultures, going barefoot in certain public areas is quite normal. It's not seen as strange or dangerous there. This shows that the idea of bare feet being unacceptable in public is often just a social custom, not a real necessity for safety or hygiene. Social customs can change over time. Forcing people to wear shoes everywhere takes away a simple freedom. It tells people they cannot make basic decisions about their own comfort and connection to the environment. I think we should trust people to be responsible for themselves. If someone chooses to go barefoot, they understand the potential risks and accept them. We should focus on real problems in public spaces, not what people choose to wear on their feet. Let people be free to decide what is right for their body. In conclusion, allowing bare feet in public is about respecting personal freedom, recognizing individual comfort, and understanding that the risks are often manageable by the individual. It's time to be more open about this simple choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. While I understand the idea of personal freedom, I believe that public places are different from private spaces. There are important reasons why we have rules about behavior and dress in public. My main concern is safety. Public places like streets, shops, and public transport can have many hidden dangers on the ground. You could easily step on broken glass, sharp pieces of metal, or other dangerous objects. These things can cause serious cuts and injuries. Even small stones or uneven surfaces can cause pain or falls when you are not wearing shoes. Shoes provide a layer of protection for your feet. Hygiene is another big issue. Public floors, especially in busy areas, can be very dirty. They can have germs, bacteria, and even waste from people or animals. Walking barefoot on these surfaces means your feet pick up all this dirt and germs. This can lead to infections or illnesses. Then you might carry those germs into other places, like someone's home or a restaurant, even after washing your feet. Shoes help contain what's on the ground. Also, consider social norms. In most societies, wearing shoes in indoor public places like stores, restaurants, or offices is the expected standard. This isn't just about old customs. It's also related to perceived cleanliness and respect for the shared space. Walking in barefoot can make other people feel uncomfortable. Businesses and property owners have a right to set rules for their own spaces. They have a responsibility to provide a safe and clean environment for all their customers and staff. Asking people to wear shoes is a reasonable rule for safety and hygiene reasons. It helps protect everyone who uses the space, not just the barefoot person. If someone gets hurt because they stepped on something sharp while barefoot on a business's property, who is responsible? This creates legal problems. It's simpler and safer for everyone if there is a general expectation that people wear shoes in most public indoor areas and on streets. While parks and beaches are different environments, they are not the same as a busy city street or a supermarket floor. The risks are different. We need to think about the community as a whole. Individual freedom is important, but it sometimes needs limits when it affects public health and safety standards. Allowing widespread bare feet in public could lead to more injuries and potential spread of germs. This is not good for the community. Therefore, I believe that for safety, hygiene, and the smooth functioning of shared public spaces, wearing shoes should remain the standard expectation in most public places. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We have heard different views. Sarah, you talked about personal freedom and comfort. David, you raised points about safety and hygiene. Sarah, David mentioned the risk of injury from stepping on sharp things. How do you respond to this safety concern?
As I said, people are generally careful. We don't walk blindly, we look at the ground. Also, shoes don't prevent all injuries. You can still step on something small that goes through a thin shoe. Or you can trip and fall because your shoe catches on something. Bare feet can sometimes give you better balance. The risk is often very small in many public areas, like clean pathways or grassy areas. We should not stop people from being barefoot everywhere, because of a small risk in some specific spots.
But the risk isn't always small, Sarah. On a busy street, there could be anything on the ground. Broken glass from a car accident, sharp litter, even needles. It's not just about looking. Sometimes you don't see something small and dangerous until you step on it. And while shoes don't prevent everything, they offer significant protection compared to bare skin. It's a layer of defense against many common hazards. Public spaces are used by many people, not all of whom are careful about litter. We need a standard that protects everyone, even from the carelessness of others.
David, you also talked about hygiene. Sarah, how do you address the concern that bare feet can pick up and spread germs?
Our feet are not inherently dirty. We can wash our feet just like we wash our hands. Shoes themselves can be very unhygienic. They trap sweat and dirt, becoming breeding grounds for bacteria and smell. People wear the same shoes everywhere, taking germs from one place to another. At least with bare feet, you are more likely to wash them frequently. The idea that bare feet are spreading dangerous diseases in public seems like an exaggeration. There is little evidence to support this claim as a major public health issue.
But think about what is on public floors. Spilled drinks, dropped food, maybe even things like spit or animal waste. Your bare feet come into direct contact with this. It's a direct way for germs to enter your body, especially if you have small cuts. While shoes can be dirty, they act as a barrier between your skin and the dirty floor. You take your shoes off when you enter your home. If people are walking barefoot everywhere, they are bringing all that public dirt and germs directly into private spaces like homes and businesses. This increases the overall risk of germ spread. It's about minimizing contact with potentially harmful substances on public surfaces for the good of everyone. Shoes help do that.
David, Sarah mentioned that social norms can change and that personal comfort is important. Why do you think social expectations about wearing shoes are still necessary?
Social norms often exist for practical reasons, including safety and hygiene. They create a predictable and generally accepted environment for everyone. When you enter a shop or restaurant, there is an expectation of a certain level of cleanliness and appearance. Bare feet often go against this expectation. It can make other customers feel uncomfortable or question the cleanliness of the establishment. Businesses want to create a welcoming environment for everyone. While personal comfort is nice, public spaces require some level of conformity for the benefit of the community. We cannot always do exactly what feels best for us personally if it negatively impacts others or the shared space.
But discomfort from seeing bare feet is a personal feeling, not a public health crisis. We should not make rules based on whether something makes a few people feel slightly uncomfortable. If someone's bare feet are clean, what is the real problem? It seems more about tradition and what we are used to seeing. We allow people to wear sandals or flip-flops, which offer very little protection or hygiene barrier. Why is bare feet so different? The focus should be on actual risks, not just what looks conventional. If there is no demonstrable harm, personal choice should be respected.
Sandals and flip-flops, while minimal, still provide a barrier between your foot and the ground. They offer some basic protection from stepping directly on sharp or dirty items. The difference is significant. Bare feet have zero protection and direct contact with everything on the floor. While discomfort might be subjective, the reasons behind the norm, safety, hygiene perception, are real concerns for businesses and the public. Businesses have the right to maintain standards they believe are necessary for their operation and the comfort of their customers. No shirt, no shoes, no service is a common and understandable rule.
Sarah, David argues that businesses have the right to require shoes on their property. How does that fit with your view on personal freedom?
Businesses can have rules, yes. But maybe we should question if that rule is truly necessary or just traditional. If a business is otherwise clean and safe, is a person's bare feet really a threat? Or is it just about appearance? I think customers should also have some freedom. If a business wants my money, maybe they should be more flexible on non-essential dress codes like shoes, especially if I am clean and not causing a disturbance. Public areas, like streets and parks owned by the city, are different from private businesses. In truly public spaces, the argument for maximum personal freedom is even stronger.
Businesses have to consider their liability. If someone is injured on their property because they were barefoot, the business could be sued. Requiring shoes reduces that risk for the business. It's not just about appearance. It's about managing risk and ensuring a basic level of safety for everyone on the property. And even in public spaces like streets, the city has a responsibility for public safety. Allowing widespread barefoot walking increases the potential for accidents and injuries the city might have to deal with. Public order and safety sometimes require simple rules that apply to everyone. Wearing shoes in most public areas is one such simple rule that contributes to overall safety and hygiene standards.
But adults should be allowed to take responsibility for their own safety. If I choose to walk barefoot, I accept the risk. Why should the city or a business need to protect me from my own choice? We don't ban high heels because someone might trip. We don't ban flip-flops even though they offer little protection. Why target bare feet specifically? It feels like an unfair and overly protective rule that limits freedom based on fear rather than real widespread problems. Let people manage their own risk.
The difference is the level of risk and the direct contact with potentially hazardous and unhygienic surfaces. High heels or flip-flops still offer times some poly's barrier. Bare feet offer none. Public policy often aims to prevent foreseeable harm, even if individuals are willing to take risks. We have traffic laws even though drivers accept risks. The potential for numerous barefoot people getting injured or spreading germs in crowded public spaces is a valid concern that rules help manage for the common good.
We've had a good discussion about safety, hygiene, social norms, and personal freedom. It's clear there are strong points on both sides.
In conclusion, I want to remind everyone that allowing individuals to go barefoot in public is fundamentally about respecting personal freedom. Adults should have the right to choose what they wear on their feet based on their own comfort and judgment. The risks often discussed are frequently small and manageable by the individual person. People can and do take responsibility for their own safety when they choose to go barefoot. We should not let exaggerated fears about safety or hygiene limit basic personal liberties. Many public spaces are already used by barefoot people without significant issues. Focusing on requiring shoes everywhere distracts from real public safety and hygiene concerns. We should trust individuals to make responsible choices for themselves. Let's move towards a society that respects individual comfort and freedom of choice in simple matters like what to wear on our feet. Thank you.
To summarize my position, while personal freedom is important, it must be balanced with the need for public safety and hygiene in shared spaces. Public places present real risks that bare feet are not protected from. Stepping on dangerous objects and picking up germs are serious concerns that affect not only the barefoot person, but potentially others they come into contact with. Rules requiring shoes in most indoor public places and on streets are reasonable measures to protect everyone. Businesses and cities have a responsibility to minimize risks for the public. These rules are not about limiting freedom unnecessarily. They are about ensuring a basic standard of safety and hygiene for the community as a whole. Maintaining a standard for wearing shoes in public contributes to a safer and more sanitary environment for everyone. Public health and safety should be the priority in shared spaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah and David, for this interesting discussion. We have heard arguments for allowing bare feet based on personal freedom, comfort, and individual responsibility. We've also heard arguments against it, focusing on public safety risks, hygiene concerns, and the role of rules in shared spaces. This topic clearly has different sides to consider. We appreciate you sharing your views and helping us think about this question. Thank you to our listeners for joining us today.